Tonight, we reveal a serious risk of infection in some of the region's tattoo parlours.
We've seen unsterilised equipment, genuinely filthy conditions, where skin's been broken. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
We ask if the opening of the River Roach in Rochdale town centre led to the worst flooding in living memory.
It reduced the impact of flooding in the town centre. If we hadn't done
it... The first time it had ever flooded in Rochdale town centre was while you were doing these works.
And we investigate why wreckage from planes that crashed during the war is disappearing.
If they're taking it to make money, that is really scandalous.
There are 1,500 licensed tattoo parlours in the UK. But how do we know we'll be safe when we go under the needle? After discovering filthy premises where some of the clients became infected, one North West council has introduced a new rating scheme. I've been investigating, but just a word of warning, some of the pictures in this report are unpleasant.
They're used to commemorate events and loved ones, remind ourselves of life mantras, or just mark a turning point in our lives. But sometimes they come at a price. What are some of the worst things that you've seen in premises?
We've seen unsterilised equipment. There's one where there was no sterilisation because there were no electrical facilities within a certain premise. So people who were having body piercing done were being done so effectively with dirty utensils and implements. We've seen young people being tattooed, we've seen dirty equipment, we've seen cigarette packets and part-eaten food left lying around. Genuinely filthy conditions where skin's been broken. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Sean from Blackpool booked in for an 8-hour tattoo session on his arm. He's asked to remain anonymous.
It went ahead as normal, just like any other tattoo. About an hour, hour and a half after I've had it done, just felt really dizzy, had a headache, felt a bit sick.
He became worried that his arm had become infected following the tattoo procedure.
After it started to scab over, I noticed that the scab was kind of peeling up and there was thick yellowy goo coming out of my arm. And sometimes like you'd push down and there'd be like bits of blood come out as well. There's no way that this was part of the healing process, especially considering I've had loads of tattoos before. So I went to A&E and they took all the skin where I'd had my tattoo off my arm, and it was stinking, like really smelled, it was horrible.
Sean was put on gas and air to help ease the pain.
They did say that they'd never seen anything like it before. They'd seen bad tattoos, but never as bad as mine.
Blackpool has been nicknamed the tattoo capital of Britain. It has 53 premises registered to carry out tattoos, body piercing and semi-permanent makeup. That's nearly one shop for every 3,000 people in the seaside resort.
Because of this growing trend, Blackpool Council is now rolling out a new scheme to ensure that all registered premises are given a rating from 0 to 5. Stickers showing the rating should be displayed on shop windows. Tim Coughlin says the major problems they've encountered in Blackpool revolve around a genuine lack of knowledge.
Rather than allow a trade sector to survive just doing the bare minimum, we've decided to intervene and raise the bar because it's in the interests of all locals and visitors to the resort to have a safe tattooing and body piercing community.
Public health experts have been forced to contact customers to arrange precautionary testing to ensure they've not been put at risk of serious infections or diseases when incidents in the industry are reported.
We have people that have been disfigured, and we are aware of people that have contracted bloodborne viruses through having these procedures done when the equipment hasn't been sterilised prior to use. Fortunately, infection with HIV is rare, and we haven't seen that from any of these procedures, but we have seen people that have acquired hepatitis B and hepatitis C infections from having these procedures done.
Do you think that the fact that the industry is largely self-regulating, that's not very helpful, is it, when members of the public are trying to make informed choices?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there is no national standard across the region. There is a general lack of training for people in the industry, lack of regulation within the industry, which really could do to be improved.
Right, so we're just going to look at the hand washing facilities.
Jackie Harrison is responsible for checking the cleanliness and hygiene of tattoo parlours and body piercing businesses in Blackpool.
What records do you keep of your client information?
We keep all the consent forms and we keep them locked in a cupboard for a year. On every consent form we write down exactly what ink we've used and the batch number for that ink.
You've got 100%, so well done. That means you've got a 5-star rating.
Monica and her brother both received 40 hours of unpaid community work after being prosecuted for tattooing someone under the age of 18. They were also criticised for having unhygienic premises following a visit from Blackpool Council.
It was a bit of unfortunate day in our studio because actually we had intention to do refurbishment. I was ill at home, so I was brought here to give some explanation what's going on.
And what was your explanation about what was going on?
My brother, his nature is sometimes to say too easily yes. Didn't check ID, maybe too easily believed what people try to convince him. For many years I was working hard to keep good name of this studio. And then bit unfortunate, row of events put it in danger, my work, my profession, my source of money for my family. So I was really upset, about what's happened.
And you accept the criticisms that were levelled against you? Yeah.
What type of gloves do you use for cleaning?
Monica's tattoo parlour has now been retested by Jackie.
Now you have turned everything around from being in court. You now have a 5 on the rating scheme. Mm-hmm. Has it been difficult to turn things around?
My ambition always was to keep the salon up to standards. To use, single-use needles, disposable grips as well, something which is 100%, I'm sure, is clean, and sterilized. So Jackie brought this rating scheme. We followed, all points, and as much as we could, we lucky to got 5 stars now.
While Monica has embraced the new scheme, the council says it will name and shame any other businesses not up to standard by publishing all rating scores online. And whilst it's currently voluntary, the council does have the power to prosecute.
If people don't want to join in the scheme, that would set alarm bells ringing.
What we're going to do is we'll first wash your tattoo up, take a look at what we've got underneath the hair. Okay, looks a little bit of a mess.
Sean's now looking to get his tattoo covered up and has used the council's rating system to research and find a new tattoo parlour.
We can see that you've obviously had a terrible, terrible infection around this portion of your arm. Whether that's down to the ink or overworking the tattoo, something is definitely to blame. All the trouble seems to have been this area around the front ear, which has left you with some pretty nasty scars actually. If you're interested in continuing getting this tattoo finished, my advice would be to get very, very small skin patches done. But I would take it very slowly, test the colours. It's going to be a long drawn out process for you, but we'll be able to do something for you, definitely.
Sean welcomes the new scheme in Blackpool, but still feels cautious about his ambition to get more tattoos.
To be honest, I probably wouldn't go to anyone that didn't have a 5-star rating, regardless of what anyone says. It is art, but it is definitely a medical procedure. It's definitely made me think twice. I mean, my ideal situation before this happened was I wanted to be covered in tattoos. I've got so many different ideas. But there's a lot of tattoo artists that I've seen, I've walked in and I've just turned back round and straight back out the door, because cleanliness definitely is my main concern now.